Today is framing day, and boy, do I got some to tell y'all. Hey guys, it's Isaac here with Isaac Built It, and in this video, I'm gonna talk about all the that has gone wrong, and it's only been day 2 of framing. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you can see all of our videos about these 2 home builds, as well as the other 8+ homes that I'm building in this same community. So before I dive into the video, I'm gonna give you guys a quick recap of where we are. I'm building these 2 homes right now, which is part of a larger 10-home build project, and these will all be added to my rental portfolio. In the previous update, I told you guys how we completed the clearing and the excavation for the footing. We got our concrete footing poured and it passed as far as the inspection. We also did the foundation wall, and that passed the inspection as well. And then lastly, we also finished the backfill inspection, which had to be inspected, and that was approved. Everything was going so well on these projects until we started framing. As of now, there have been 2 main issues that we've ran into as far as the framing for these projects. And the easiest way to explain it is to tell you guys the full story of what actually happened. As always, I schedule my material delivery from my vendor, and in this case, Lowe's, before my guys are planning to come on site. And I try to make sure that everything's here. So typically on other projects, when the material is delivered, I'll be here, I'll count everything and verify that what I ordered is actually what is delivered. In this case, because the delivery came later than I expected, I wasn't actually on site to receive it myself. The problem comes in when my guys come here to start framing, and they're thinking that all the material's here, and in fact, some of the boards or some of the pieces of material are not actually here as they said it was delivered. In this specific example, the foundation behind me, we ordered enough material for both homes, and they started on this home right here. So they started on the girder, which is the support system in the middle of it, and they realized they did not have all of the pressure treated lumber that they needed to do it. So I told them to transition over to the next house and get started on that, since that material was there, and it uses a different size board that they need for that girder. When they moved over to the other site, they were able to get started. They were able to get the floor system mostly completed, and then we realized we had ran out of the plywood that Lowe's also said they delivered. So I then came on site to start counting everything, and I realized we were short 52 pieces of subfloor. By then, Lowe's had already came back and delivered the remaining boards that we needed for this one. So while we were waiting on the material for that one, I said, hey, just start going back over to this one and continue working. And then we ran into our next big problem. This is an I-joist, and I was required to use it by my engineer because of the span and the width of my foundation. The problem we ran into is that this I-joist has to stretch from my foundation wall to the piers and the girder in the middle, as well as stretch all the way to the other side of that foundation wall. The issue is when I put this I-joist, or my framers put this I-joist on this section, it was teetering across the girder, which means that either my foundation walls are too low or my girder is too high. In the M&M Builders Academy, I give you countless pro tips and things that you can learn from my personal experiences that you can apply to your own projects, your own builds, and doing your first build in your new construction investing journey. If you want to learn more about the M&M Builders Academy, pause the video right now, scan that QR code to learn more. I had to get my foundation guy back out here as well as my framer so we could all take a look at it. And initially we thought that the exterior walls of the foundation were sitting too low. Ideally, that's not the case because they're using string lines and they're using the laser. And what we found out is it was actually this corner right here. When they pulled their string line across here and across here, they actually had the level wrong here. And it basically raised this location up, and right behind here is my girder, meaning that my girder was too high and the foundation wall was kind of slanted upward. While this was a relatively easy fix, if we would not have caught it then, it would have cost us thousands of dollars later after the house was built to try and fix it. While these things were relatively easy fixes, both of them can impact and did impact my timeline by a day or 2. I learned some very valuable lessons from this. One, no matter how fast I move on a project, I still have to stick to the fundamentals. And that being, let me double check that all of my materials are here before calling my framing guys on site. Although they're not charging me for that wasted day, it's still a missed opportunity for them in hours that they had their crew here and they couldn't do any work. The second thing is, I have used this foundation guide countless times on my projects, not even just new construction homes, but on garages, additions, patios, you name it. and he does an excellent job. But that does not mean we are not human and we cannot make issues. So although it was an easy fix, next time I should probably add that to my checklist. Like, hey, let's verify one more time at the very end that our level across the entire foundation wall is right before I have my framers come on site. We have so many more videos coming up about this home development, and you do not want to miss this information. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.